Hey everybody, now we're back in Route 3, and we're just gonna go talk to that little girl that's next to Bianca, and she will thank you for giving her Pokemon back. And she'll give you a little present, which is a little package of Heal Balls. And a Heal Ball is exactly the same as a Pokeball as far as like the power of it, except it also heals the Pokemon that you catch. So I guess it's a pretty okay item if you're, in like a cave or something like that and you can't really get to a Pokemon Center very easily. So you can catch a Pokemon like halfway through and actually use it because you've healed it. So, but realistically, situations like that don't usually come up. So, anyway, now we're fighting this school kid who has a Blitzel, which is, I think, the first one that we get to fight in the game, other than Wild Battles, because you can also catch Blitzel in this route. But Blitzel is kind of, I don't know, I tried to use him in this playthrough actually, and what I found is that the only moves that he can learn, or she, the only moves that Blitzel and Zebstrika, its evolution, can learn are kind of like special attack focused, whereas Zebstrika's like highest stat, base stat, is actually its highest base stat is speed, but its second highest is physical attack. But it doesn't really learn any physical attacks that are electric that are worthwhile. So you could kind of use Blitzel as like a weird electric type, but use it for its fire moves or stuff like that. But I don't know. I never really found a groove with it with this playthrough because you can see my level 10 Blitzel right there. I gave it a shot, and I probably grew to like level 20 or something like that. But eventually it was just, and yeah, then again, maybe it was just specifically my Blitzel. Maybe its IVs were just terrible, but I don't know. I gave it a shot, and it didn't really turn out too well. There you find an antidote, which I don't really think there are any Pokemon that can poison you in this route, but there are Pokemon later on, in probably like an hour or so, in Pinwheel Forest that can poison you, so that would probably come in handy there. And there, Sharon just warned you about the Dark Grass, which actually has wild double battles in it. And also, if you get into a single battle there, the Pokemon will be higher level than normal grass. So, and having wild double battles, it's something that is kind of like, why the hell wasn't that introduced before? Like, they should have really did that in Generation 3, to be honest. They should have introduced that in Ruby and Sapphire. And it was kind of stupid. Like, I even remember playing through that game when I was like 13 or maybe 14 and thinking, okay, so they have double battles with trainers, but why don't they have wild double battles? And it never, and then once Emerald came out, I was thinking, oh man, maybe now they'll do that. And they never did. And then even Diamond and Pearl came out and Platinum, and they still didn't have wild double battles. And it's like, what the hell? So, I mean, it's kind of a good thing that they finally got to it, but that's just something that kind of irked me earlier on in life, I guess. And there, that female school kid had a Woobat, which is a psychic flying type. So if you ever find yourself with a fighting type, you are going to get destroyed by that Woobat, most likely, unless you have Rock Throw. And here I'm just kind of showing off a wild double battle. And something that they had to think about when they introduced wild double battles is how do you catch the Pokemon? And the only way you can throw a Pokeball is if you haven't issued an attack yet. So you can't make your first Pokemon attack and then throw a Pokeball. That's not the way it works. You have to, right from the get-go, throw a Pokeball. And I believe you can catch both Pokemon in one go, but I don't really remember, actually. I'm pretty sure you can. Here we are fighting another school kid, and she just has Yet another Patrat. And that's another thing that is kind of annoying about the beginning of every Pokemon game is the fact that, they, and it makes sense, but they always have to have like only 5 Pokemon at the very beginning of the game. And usually they're normal types, so it's just really boring. It's like, oh great, I'm fighting another trainer with another Patrat or another Purloin or another Lillipup or another, whatever. And it's just kind of annoying, to be honest. But if this was my first Pokemon game that I had ever played, it probably wouldn't really get on my nerves as much as it currently does. But that's just me bitching again. There we find an Awakening, which, again, I don't think there's any Pokemon here that can put your Pokemon to sleep, so it doesn't really come in handy right now. But let's see, here we're fighting the final trainer of this route. He has a Pidove. In the previous video, I kind of started talking about this, but another annoying thing about the Pokemon franchise as it's evolved, no pun intended. But yeah, another annoying thing is the fact that they keep on reintroducing the same Pokemon. For example, Pidgeotto, and Pidgeot, or Pidgeot, in the first generation, it's like the de facto bird, flying type. And for some reason, they keep on introducing a new fucking evolution, or a new, evolution chain of bird Pokemon. And it's exactly the same. Why are you doing this? Like, in Ruby and Sapphire, they had Tailo and Swellow. Granted, it was only 2 different stages, but still, I mean, my argument applies. And then in the 4th generation, they had Starly, which I believe has 2 evolutions, so there's 3 stages altogether. And then Pidove also, I believe, has 3 stages. So why, what the hell is the point of introducing Pidove? I don't understand. They're just padding the number of Pokemon. In reality, are there really 649 Pokemon? Not really, because there's Pidove, which is just exactly the same as Pidgey. I mean, yeah, maybe its base stats are a little different, and it might have a little bit different of a moveset or a move pool, but just aesthetically even, it's just kind of annoying. And here we go. Here is a new Pokemon that, and yeah, actually, like Roggenrola, it's pretty much the Geodude of Pokemon. And it wouldn't really annoy me if they introduced new Pokemon that weren't exactly the same. You can still make a new rock Pokemon that has, X number of stages, which is just like this other rock Pokemon, but just make them look different. Pidove looks exactly like Pidgey. And there's so many other, newer Pokemon that look exactly the same as some Pokemon in the 1st generation or 2nd generation. So it's why the hell do they even introduce them? It's just a waste. So I'm wondering if for the 6th generation they're not going to even introduce any new Pokemon, but instead they're just going to take 250 worthwhile Pokemon and just use them exclusively for that game. I think that would be a really cool decision. But we're now in Nacrene City, so I'll see you in the next video.